If you want to help out and support the channel, there are a few things you can do. Go check out Flipside Gaming and use the promo code VOIDMAGE in all caps. This will get you 10% off all orders $10 or more. And if you go shopping on tcgplayer.com, go use my affiliate link in the description below. That way all purchases you make will go towards helping the channel. And lastly, go check out my Patreon. It's a more direct way that you can help the channel while also getting some more interaction. I appreciate all of your support. If you haven't already, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Hello everyone, welcome back to another Commander Deck Tech video. Commander Void here, doing yet another one for a patron. This time for November, William Grove has requested a Glissa the Traitor deck. He wanted the ability to bring back artifacts from the graveyard and ramp into larger spells like Blightsteel Colossus and Colossus of Akros. After reading this, I thought, hey, let's just make a Shadow of the Colossus deck. That would be pretty cool. Unfortunately, I really want to take advantage of Glissa and cheap utility artifacts. I think that's her strength. So going into building this deck, I was really focused on that. And also, we do have the downside with Blightsteel Colossus that he does end up shuffling back into your deck if he hits the graveyard. So while we are going to try to put him in the deck, he's not going to be part of any shenanigans, really just meant to be in here because he's a menacing creature. We are, however, going to ramp up so that we can play Colossus of Akros and use that massive monstrosity so that we can have a 20/20 indestructible. So Glissa the Traitor, a 3-mana Golgari colored 3/3 first strike death touch legendary zombie elf. Whenever a creature an opponent controls is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may return an artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Target artifact. It's nothing that's going to combo like crazy, but if you can just assure yourself that you're getting back good quality artifacts, even if it's just something like simple card draw or ramp, it can help you stay in the game a lot longer. And there are of course artifacts that serve as removal, and being able to reuse them is even better. Now going over lands first, just talking about good utility, Bojuka Bog, get rid of those graveyard decks, they're super annoying, and Buried Ruin to help us out beyond just what we're capable of doing with Glissa. We're of course going to be playing the artifact lands, Tree of Tales, Vault of Whispers, and Darksteel Citadel. They're artifacts. If they're in our graveyard, we can bring them back with Glissa. Inventor's Fair is a good tutor for artifacts. We are most likely going to have the 3 artifacts required. And Phyrexia's Core is a very underrated card that can sacrifice artifacts. Some of our artifact creatures are going to have good death triggers, and we're going to want to put them in the graveyard. This is going to be a heavy ramp deck. We're going to focus it on our artifacts, but we do have things like Cultivate and Kodama's Reach, just because you can never really go wrong with more land drops. A very good card to play with Glissa is Lotus Petal. May not seem like a big deal, but over the course of the game, being able to constantly bring this back means that you're going to be ahead of your opponents when it comes to mana. And it's only 0, so you could just keep playing it over and over again. We have Expedition Maps so that we can get a specific land we need. Very good if you need a Bojuka Bog. We do have Wayfarer's Bauble just to get a basic land. This will actually ramp you up, so if you could keep bringing it back and playing it for just that 1 mana, sack it for 2, you can keep ramping up, and we will be getting to those Colossus creatures pretty easily. We do have Soul Ring, Golgari Signet, Talisman of Resilience, Mind Stone, Commander Sphere, Hedron Archive, just good mana rocks. They're going to tap for a bunch, and if they're in our graveyard, we can get them back. If that's not enough for you, we also have Burnished Heart and Solemn Simulacrum, and of course ways that we can make our artifacts cheaper, Foundry, Inspector, and Joyrus Familiar. So even if we're not ramping, it should be easier for us to play our spells. For the deck, there really isn't a specific direction, I should say. We are going to be playing good stuff artifacts, which means you're going to see a lot more utility. But if there is any theme in the deck, it is going to be about killing creatures and returning artifacts from our graveyard to our hand, so we do want to focus on that if at all possible. We do have other cards that help us do this, like Mere Retriever, Scrap Trawler, and Eternal Witness. It is very easy to keep a full hand in this deck. It's very important to play a bunch of removal, and we have this in bunches. Executioner's Capsule is brilliant in this deck, because we can just kill a creature and then bring it back to our hand. Since sacrificing it is part of the cost, it's already going to be in our graveyard. Glissa will then bring it back to our hand. Nevinyrral's Disc is going to destroy all artifacts, creatures, and enchantments. If you have Glissa out there already, if you're destroying a bunch of creatures, they're going to hit the graveyard. Glissa will give you a bunch of triggers, so you're not going to be losing that much when it comes to our artifacts. We have Noxious Gearhulk and Meteor Golem. These are both capable of killing creatures, so that we can then return more artifacts back from our graveyard to our hand. We have good targeted removal like Assassin's Trophy, Putrefy, and Death Sprout, all capable of killing creatures. Good thing about Golgari is that you have the versatility versatility with cards like Assassin's Trophy so that you are capable of dealing with other problems even though the deck really wants to kill creatures. Phyrexian Scriptures, when you get the second lore counter, you're going to destroy all non-artifact creatures. Cool thing is that the first lore counter will allow us to make Glissa an artifact creature, protecting her from that board wipe. We have other very good removal spells, Casualties of War, Decree of Pain, and In Garrick's Wake. All exceptional removal spells in Commander, and it's definitely worth it if you can get up to that 9 mana for an In Garrick's Wake. Glissa will still be out there, just a fantastic situation to put yourself in. And probably the best card in the whole deck if we're just talking about straight up win cons, Torment of Hailfire. Put enough mana into it and you will definitely start killing your opponent's creatures, so our ramp is going to be more valuable than just getting up to a Blightsteel. Now, we do have some other very good utility cards in here. It's going to take advantage of creatures dying, or artifact creatures, or just artifacts in general. Nile Spellbomb is very good. If it's put into a graveyard from the battlefield, we can pay a black and draw a card. Obviously, the activated ability is the best part about it, but we want to be rewarded for our artifacts going to the graveyard. Skull Clamp is just perfect for creatures dying, rewarding us with even more card draw. And Ichor Wellspring, another good artifact that, if you're able to replay it over and over again, it means you're going to keep a full hand. Hope of Ghirapur, we can sacrifice it, easily bring it back to our hand with Glissa. If we can connect and hit a player for combat damage, we can make it so that they can't cast non-creature spells their next turn. Filigree Familiar dies and we get to draw a card, so you're starting to see a theme here. If we can get something as simple as card draw, it's going to be worth it to kill off our creatures. Mariok Replica, we do have to pay mana, but it's worth it because we can draw 2 cards. Sylvok Replica does a similar thing, but we're paying a green mana to destroy an artifact or enchantment. Treasure Keeper dies and gives us a non-land card, converted mana cost 3 or less, from the top of our library. Wormcoil Engine is an all-star in artifact decks. It dies and we get some tokens. Those keywords are going to help us stay in the game longer because Death Touch and Lifelink are fantastic to have in combat, whether you're doing the attacking or the blocking. Ancient Stone Idol is a fantastic card to have in the deck. Not only is it a good combat trick card, but if it happens to die, we get a 6/12 with Trample. And since we have a lot of artifacts and we're okay with them dying, Metalwork Colossus is another Colossus I recommend. It has insane cost reduction, even though it doesn't have any good keywords. It is a 10/10 and it's going to offer you some presence in combat. And another card that does synergize with death is Revel in Riches. More about your opponent's creatures dying, but whenever that happens, you get a colorless treasure artifact token that can provide you with mana. Of course, at the beginning of our upkeep, we win the game if we have 10 or more. And the one artifact that you could probably take out because people have their opinions about it, if you're able to loop it over and over again with Glissa, you can keep getting it back using it. Mindslaver will just punish your opponents big time. And in many cases, you should be able to do this to multiple opponents pretty easily. Another good card that just happens to be an artifact is Bolas's Citadel. I do like the ability to pretty much just suicide so that you can have each opponent lose 10 life. Sometimes that is incredibly relevant. Now on to the final part of the deck tech. The combos, while they're not infinite, they are worth noting. Both Viridian Longbow and Thornbite Staff are going to take advantage of the fact that Glissa has Death Touch. Both of them allow her to deal a damage to a creature. Thornbite Staff does allow us to untap her, so we do have that advantage with that card. But the whole point here is that we're going to trigger Glissa, get an artifact back from our graveyard to our hand. This isn't an infinite combo, but it can get out of hand depending on what point of the game it is. If it's late game and you have a bunch of targets in your graveyard, and if you have plenty of mana, you can just easily keep doing this. So anyway, that's pretty much the deck. Very interesting, and it's something that I've always liked about Glissa is that she's kind of off color. You see some black artifact decks, but you don't really see that in green because green is the color of hating artifacts. They hate enchantments as well, pretty much the unnatural. So to have a green deck with any affinity for artifacts is incredibly unusual. But anyway, hope you enjoyed it. William Grove, thanks for being a patron. If you want to see the full deck list, the link to that will be in the description below. You guys have a wonderful day. Void here signing off. See you all next video. Just wanted to say thanks to the patrons who are supporting me on patreon.com. Go check it out. There are different tiers with their own rewards. One of them is having your name in the credits of my videos. I know it's not much, but it's something that I can do to show my appreciation. Thanks again, and have a good day.